We all know the benefits of H.265. Basically, 4K video plus it gives you equivalent quality at 50% the data rate of H.264. That's pretty much established. The big question is, what's it going to take to implement it? When is it going to be implemented? So we had 3 companies talking. One is Akamai, and they have to distribute it. And they talked about the fact that they see the initial applications being better quality at the same data rate, as well as obviously getting video to where it couldn't go to before because the data rate was unsupportable. So now you can get HD video into mobile devices because you don't need as much bandwidth to get the video there. You need half the bandwidth. So that was, and then 2 other companies. We had Rovi, who owns Main Concept. Main Concept is a codec vendor, and they're producing a software encoder for HEVC. And they talked about the quality aspects and also how Rovi is going to roll that out in their own infrastructure. So Rovi owns DivX. So DivX is coming out. It's going to support HEVC. It's going to allow end users to support HEVC. And on the other side, they license a lot of consumer electronic vendors, your smart TVs, your DVD players, your Blu-ray players, so that they will be able to play HEVC content as well. So that starts, it's a chicken and egg issue. Where's the content going to come from? Studios aren't going to invest in HEVC until they see a lot of players out there. The player manufacturers aren't going to invest in HEVC until they see a lot of content out there. So Rovi is seeding content via the DivX format, and then they're hoping to convince the CE vendors to license H.265 and put it in their players. And once the players are out there, then the Hollywood studios will start to develop content that way. And then Elemental Technologies was the last company up there. They manufacture both live and on-demand encoders. So they're strictly an encoding vendor, and they do very, very fast, very, very high quality. Today, H.264. 2 weeks ago, they started shipping an H.265 encoder as well. So their specialty is live and on-demand, high-volume encoding. And they talked about, the fact that their product now supports HEVC, that all the products they've shipped in the last 6 to 12 months are field upgradable to HEVC, and they see demand coming quicker than anybody else. They did, all of their customers. They cited some numbers about who was interested in HEVC, and the numbers were pretty high, like 118 recipients, and maybe 60 or 70 wanted to implement it as soon as it's possible. Why? Because the bandwidth, you cut your bandwidth cost in half, or you deliver equivalent quality video at half the data rate. There are bumps in the road, as there always are. One bump is the royalty picture is unclear. Whoever uses HEVC will have to pay a royalty, both certainly on the encoding and decoding side. The question is, will content developers have to pay a royalty? Will free content developers, people who produce free streaming video, will they pay a royalty? They don't with H.264, but one of the panelists said, all the H.264 patent holders they thought they got ripped off. Not ripped off, but they didn't negotiate a deal that gave them as much money as they deserve. Because, probably 99% of the video out there today is H.264. And that's an overstatement, but certainly the vast majority is. And they're not getting paid for anything that's distributed free. So what's got to happen before anybody's going to implement H.265? We got to have a clear royalty picture. And I don't think that's in the next 3 to 6 months. I think that's 6 to 12 months out. So I think that's a condition. And then we need a clear player picture, which means Flash, Apple, and Android. And none of that is existing yet. This is producing streaming video for multiple screen delivery. I think, taking HEVC, I think, is a 6 to 12 month concern for a lot of producers, but I think today everybody is concerned with, at the very least, producing streaming video that gets out for both computers and for mobile devices. Mobile is obviously iOS and Android, Windows Phone a little bit, and then a lot of distributors are also caring about the whole OTT side. So what I tried to do in this book was basically walk through the various technologies and then describe which technologies work where, and present a logical framework for people to choose their streams, configure their streams, and how to distribute their streams. And then new in this book is 4 chapters on live. Live I think is exploding. So there's a lot, whether to use your own streaming server or whether to go to a service like Livestream or Ustream. Which streaming encoder do you need? How do the 4G systems work? How do you get your video from your encoder to the streaming server? And then, day-to-day things. How do you frame video speakers when they're talking at a conference. What audio levels do you use? What equipment do you use? So it's a very, very nuts and bolts book. That's got its fingers in a lot of different places.
Cool. And the title, and where do you find it?
The title is Producing Streaming Video for Multiple Screen Delivery, and you can find it on Amazon.